Well, you're very welcome to the Lightweight Boxing Show. It is a little bit of a special edition because, of course, we're in London. We've been all week in London, Anthony, and it's been all about Chris EUBANK Jr. against CONOR BENN. Now we know that will not happen.
Yep.
We did get wind yesterday, obviously, about the drugs test, CONOR BENN, and the sample A, but now, of course, the whole card is off. So we're in the hotel, the fight hotel.
Yes.
And it's been quite depressing, really, watching the undercard fighters go about the business, not knowing where they stand. Now they do. They're not going to fight.
It is sad, and we've seen some of the fighters taking the luggage straight out to the cars, and often one or two of them understandably not very happy at all about it, because people forget. And the main event fighters, they've lost out on a huge payday.
Yep.
There's businesses all around the city that have lost out on paydays. All around the country might have been doing nights for it. However, some of those undercard fighters, they live payday to payday. They really needed that, probably to pay bills, to do things. They're not going to get paid now Saturday. It's there's a lot of money that's been lost, but at the same time, that main event, it would have been morally so wrong for it to go ahead under the current circumstances.
Well, there's been a lot hanging around, but I'll have to put the old specs on for this because there is an official statement. So if we want to read this, after discussions with various parties, we've taken the decision to formally postpone the bout between Chris EUBANK Jr. and CONOR BENN. It is undeniable that the British Boxing Board of Control's decision to withdraw their sanctioning was procedurally flawed and without due process. That remains a legal issue between the promoters and the board, which we intend to pursue. However, whilst there are legal routes to facilitate the fight taking place as planned, we do not believe it's in the fighters' interests for those to be pursued at such a late stage or in the wider interests of the sport. As promoters, we take our obligations and duties very seriously, and a full investigation will now need to take place. We'll be making no further comment at this time. News for ticket holder refunds will follow. So that is from Matchroom Boxing and Wasserman Boxing, of course, who were co-promoters of this event with EUBANK and BENN. And well, there you have it. So they've obviously, with the board, when they
pulled the plug,
on it in terms of sanctioning the fight, there was a lot of talk earlier on as well. Well, will there be, as we've seen before when David Hay and Derek Chisora boxed, it's an overseas sanctioning body that came in and did that. But at this short notice, I'm not sure how feasible that was. There was all sorts of chat of that. But in the end, however it's come about, the right decision as far as you're concerned. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And listen, the worrying thing is that they probably could have got sanctioned off another board.
Yeah.
But the knock-on effect would have been massive, because what that would have done then, I said, it would have been a huge black eye for boxing, because it was almost like all rules would have gone out the window, because it was a big money fight. And I've said it a few times today, if this was a fight that was taking place at York or Betfred, it was taking place at a small venue around Manchester, the Bowlers, Liverpool, Olympia, this would have been called off straight away. And I just think there's no other decision, being honest, than to go ahead, for the fight to go ahead this Saturday.
We've mentioned the undercard fighters because even though, the main event guys, they've lost an awful lot of money, but, they're not going to struggle, where some of the undercard fighters may well struggle if they don't get anything from this week and their fight camps and all the rest of it. And you talk about a black eye for boxing. I think with everything that's going on in the sport as well, with IBA and the amateur side and the Olympic boxing situation, the precarious nature of that and the kind of state of it, and grassroots boxing and how you get kids into boxing, had this fight gone ahead, surely that would have been the wrong message for all these reasons taken into account.
Absolutely. Certainly why the cloud of the failed drug test is over. If this fight would have gone ahead, there would have been a lot of explaining to do, and you try explaining that to a casual sport fan. But so a fight with a failed drug test yet was still allowed to go ahead with the fight. What kind of message would that send out? We have, unfortunately, but this fight, I believe, it was going to be huge. It was going to be huge. We saw the promo, the numbers that was expected on pay-per-view. It was a crazy. It's been a crazy few days, but in all, the right decision has been made.
In terms of the fighter's mentality with this as well, because you've been in situations where you've had fights pulled very late, you've had all sorts of situations, but it's been a crazy few weeks for boxing, hasn't it, as well? But put yourself in the fighter's head, or any of them, when this situation is
in the main event, or do you mean?
Everything.
Oh well, listen, I think in the main event, and here's another thing. Listen, the main event meaning Chris EUBANK Jr. I think is one of very few people who's going to come out well in all of this, in the build-up. This last few days, CONOR BENN, I genuinely worry for him, in the sense where he seems an emotional guy. There's no way I felt like he should have been allowed to box, because an emotional guy, can't imagine he's had much sleep.
No.
People may be harsh and go, well, not harsh. People may tell the truth and go, well, if he's got a failed drug test, he deserves to stick again. And being the next fighter, I totally agree. If that's the case, obviously we're going to weigh his side of it. But
we don't know all the facts.
We don't know all the facts yet, so obviously we've got to put that out there. But as we know, I do believe now for CONOR BENN, it's going to be hard for him. It's going to be very tough for him.
Yeah, I suppose some fans that have bought tickets for this will be thinking, are we going to see this again?
Yeah.
There's a lot to do before that's even a discussion, isn't it?
That's it. Does the explanation of it all? Will a ban go in place? Will there be the same demand for it now? I believe they probably would. I know in a strange way, and not like I agree with it in any way. It might add to it all. Yeah. But it might also involve EUBANK Jr. somehow being the good guy in all. But no, well, at the minute it's just too early to say. There's a lot of questions that are going to be answered. I think they'll take a few weeks to be answered.
And does it again? I mean, again, it's very hard at this stage when we don't have all the evidence. But what can boxing do to make sure this doesn't happen again? This whole situation, this confusing situation.
Dan, we can dance around it all we want, but all in all, drugs in all sports are a problem. Yeah, performance-enhancing drugs are a problem in all sports. But I always say it. I've only just said it. Then to take a bell out in a 100 metres race, and I don't agree with it because people get hit hard financially because of sponsors and being cheated out of a medal. Some of they've worked their whole life for. People aren't getting physically hurt. People can't get injured, life-threatening injuries, or even lose a life. In boxing and other combat sports, they can, which is why I believe it should be even harsher.
Well, let's just have a quick word with our friend and colleague, Christy McKenna Jr. Chris McKenna from the Daily Star, the boxing writer, of course, and football. You know, you're a busy lad, obviously, but you've been around this now. You think you see it all, Chris, don't you? But no one really saw this one coming, an event of this magnitude to be pulled. It's crazy.
No, it's been a kind of unprecedented week. I've never been through acting like this. Certainly seen acting like this in British boxing and being involved in it. The matter is that the fight's been postponed, which is a key word. It's not off. The statement made it clear that they're going to continue the battle against the board. They're not happy with the decision, and when this fight will happen or if it'll ever happen, we still don't know yet. So the saga goes on, and it could be plenty more twists and turns as we go.
Chris, do you know what I was going to say? You said in the statement it says they're not happy with the board's decision.
Yeah.
Is that a bit controversial? Like they're not happy with the board's decision?
Yeah.
Surely that's the right thing to do from the board while the uncertainty of all this drug test, the B sample and so on is done.
100% the right decision from the board, and and CONOR BENN, just by the way, deserves his right of due process. And we don't know if he's innocent or guilty. Yeah. We need to go through that. But while that matters there, I don't think a fight should be happening. Don't think it would happen in any other sport. And if he is cleared down the line, that's great for boxing, and it's great for CONOR BENN. And then have the fight. And okay, there's money lost in that, but we can't have it the other way, that if, on the other side, if something was wrong and something bad happened on Saturday night,
it'd be unforgivable.
It'd be unforgivable. So we're in this position. It's been horrible. It's not been a great week. It's been horrible for everybody involved. And now we need clarity and we need transparency as well on what's going on, and we need a proper investigation as well.
With the decision from the board and with the promoters pulling it now, as you think it's the right decision, everyone seems to think it's the right decision, but how important was it that decision was made, given the fact that boxing at the moment, and I'm thinking now, it's nothing to do with this event, but IBA and everything that's going on with the amateur sport and the Olympics, I know you've written about it, the Olympics and grassroots sport and getting kids into the sport. This, had it gone ahead, would have been the absolutely wrong message, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it sends out the totally wrong message. Now, we've come to this position, whether we've come about it the right way, in my opinion, the fight should have been pulled as soon as the people were made aware of an adverse analytical finding, and then we don't have this kind of matter. We get an investigation, we find out the answers, and then we know. The matter was pressing on this afternoon. There was a lot of legal talk going on, and it came to, I think the decision was made when it would seem that any decision in terms of legal actions and stuff like that, we mightn't get until late on Friday night, and that's too late for the main event. It's too late for the undercard fighters. I think it's not fair. I think that's where the decision was finally made, to just kind of put pause on this and probably reset and see where they see and see where the board's position is. it'd be great to hear more from the board as well. I think they need to be I know they released a statement on yesterday, but on Wednesday, sorry, but we'd like to hear more from Robert Smith on this, what's gone on, what kind of due process did it take to get here, because they will have found out before this as well, so why did it take
so long?
Week? So we need to find out, and there needs to be a proper investigation. But it's also highlighted there needs to be more transparency in boxing on matters like this.
Yeah, and everyone's kind of trying to work out now. We've just seen some of the young fighters leaving.
Yeah.
I know of one that's booked a holiday that maybe can't pay for that now. I mean, what happened? It's a crazy situation. It's like no other sport, really, is it?
No, it's not, and it's not because you say football is a fixture next week.
We're going to gift you your own microphone here, Chris.
Oh, right,
how about
that? So if it was football, there'd be another match next week.
Yeah.
But Mr. Crolla will know better than any of us. Your paydays are so important, and there's nothing got to do with them. They were booked on this undercard. They would have wanted it to go ahead. I'd be interested to know, was there any consideration of going ahead with the undercard taking it off pay-per-view and just doing it as a DAZN card? I don't know why. Maybe that was considered. Maybe again time, and they just felt they couldn't do it. But yeah, you got to feel for them. All the money from camp spent as well on
that's the argument. If this would have been made aware a few weeks ago, maybe there would have been time to refund tickets, and then people wanted to keep tickets. I'm guessing there would have been a bit of a different prize plan for the undercard than what the main event was, or maybe even moved the venue. I don't know if you had a few weeks' notice, you might have been, you might not have been able to. But I think that's the problem with a lot of people now. We can't paper over the fact there's reports coming out that it was broke yesterday, but people knew before yesterday. That's where I think the big problem is as well, where, okay, it's great the fight's not going ahead, but there's just going to be still people asking, what took it so long to break?
Yeah, and that's it. We just, as again, it's transparency. You should be finding out about these issues when it happens and not needing it to come out.
Do you want to say it again? It's talked about, you mentioned it there, the key word is postponed.
Yeah, I only want to see it when the matter's been dealt with, and if CONOR BENN clears his name and it's been proven that there was a reason why that adverse analytical finding was out there, and it is accepted by UCAD and other bodies, then yeah, of course I want to see a fight. We were all looking forward to it. It was a bit of a novelty fight. It wasn't a fight we kind of expected. It was for nothing in the sense apart from pride and that, but it was going to be a massive event. A lot of money. Yeah. So we do want to see it again, but I don't want to see it again if this matter hasn't been resolved, because the right decision was made. The fight doesn't go ahead until the matter's resolved.
You got to go back to the football now.
I know, yeah. Well, I was down to do Everton on Sunday anyway. I was heading back up there, Everton Man United. So, but yeah, I might be doing some press conferences, and we haven't decided yet. So we'll see what's going to happen this evening. We'll see if there's any more statements and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll all just wait and say thank you very much indeed, Chris.
Chris, good to see you, mate.
Boxing columnist from the Star, also a football writer as well. So I think we are here waiting for an official statement, if you like, from Eddie Hearn. I think he's going to come and address us. We're not quite sure how it's going to pan out. The press still around, everybody's still here as well, and it's part and parcel of the job, hanging around. That's what we do.
The dream. This is what we do week in, week out, Dom.
We do indeed. So we await more information, and as soon as we get more, I think we'll crack on again.